Oh shit. I don't like that.
Ooh. Is it a girl or a guy? He don't like no more. He likes butt. And I've honestly always thought that Blueface...
The situation surrounding Blueface has always been chaotic, but every once in a while the drama takes a turn that forces everyone to stop and reconsider everything they thought they knew about him. For years, people have watched his toxic relationships, his reckless decisions, and his public unraveling, assuming that his behavior stemmed from immaturity, ego, or a love for shock value. But now a new layer has been added to the story, one that reaches far beyond the usual messy headlines. The whispers have grown heavier, the allegations louder, and the pieces that once seemed random now connect with alarming precision. It all circles back to one disturbing theme that keeps resurfacing every time someone digs into his personal life. His own words, his past behavior, and the stories coming out of jail all point to a reality that Blueface has worked hard to deny, yet can't seem to escape. And that reality is that he might not be the man he presents himself to be. For a long time, people brushed off the possibility, assuming that anyone questioning Blue's sexuality was either bitter, jealous, or trying to drag him down. But the comments he made recently, combined with the stories from those who claim to know the truth, have made it nearly impossible to ignore. The moment he stepped out of jail, the rumors burst open again, fueled not by drama-hungry bloggers but by his own behavior. He returned home and immediately started asking Chrisian about things that made everyone pause. Instead of focusing on their relationship, instead of returning to her the way most men do after being locked up, he took the conversation into territory that had people raising eyebrows. The first thing on his mind was butt play. The first thing he asked her about involved lubricants and access to places that most straight men never mention willingly, especially not publicly. And because of that, people began connecting dots that had been floating around for years. Long before this moment, the speculation existed. It didn't come from thin air. It came from the women around him noticing habits that didn't make sense, from suspicious searches found on his phone, from strange comments he made in interviews, and from accusations he dismissed without ever giving a convincing explanation. When Chrisian claimed she found explicit videos involving men in his search history, people tore her down, called her delusional, blamed the pregnancy hormones, and insisted she was only trying to hurt him. But with time, her story began to age differently. Suddenly, the details she shared started lining up with everything people were observing. Even during arguments, she would slip and mention things that didn't sound like insults. They sounded more like truth slipping through cracks she couldn't seal anymore. She wasn't guessing. She was reacting. Then came the situation with the drag queen who claimed Blue slid into his DMs. Screenshots surfaced. Videos surfaced. Even tattoos that looked identical to Blue's appeared in compromising content posted online. Blue denied everything, but instead of shutting the situation down with legal action or a public statement backed by evidence, he brushed it off as entertainment. He treated it like a joke. But nobody else was laughing. If anything, his refusal to take action made the allegations louder. People started saying that if he were truly innocent, he would have cleared his name. Instead, he tried to act above it, hoping the drama would fade like all the chaos he's thrown at the internet before. But this time, the story stuck. The moment he began obsessively questioning his own 6-year-old son about sexuality, the internet collectively recoiled. Parents know that children that age barely understand the world around them, let alone concepts related to attraction. So when Blueface repeatedly asked the boy if he was gay, over and over again, people recognized that something wasn't right. Children don't get interrogated about these things unless the adult projecting the question is dealing with something internal. And Blue didn't stop at words. He invited grown women into the house to try and force the child to react, to test him, to get an answer that didn't make sense in the first place. The boy wasn't confused about himself. Blue was confused about himself. When old audition clips resurfaced showing Blue questioning groups of men about their sexuality like he was scouting instead of interviewing, the situation became even more unsettling. He seemed almost eager, almost curious, like he was waiting for one of them to say what he wanted to hear. When combined with his jail rumors, the narrative only grew stronger. Word on the street whispered that Blue wasn't lonely behind bars. They said he found companionship. They said he experimented. They said he stepped into something he had always been curious about but never allowed himself to try until he was isolated from the outside world. They said he wasn't just participating, he was enjoying it. They even said he was making promises to men inside, telling them he'd take care of them on the outside. And now, listening to the way he speaks and watching the way he acts, people are starting to believe it. The internet has long been divided about Blueface, but this time the division has nothing to do with his music, or his relationships, or his parenting. This time people want to know who he really is when the cameras are off. They want to know whether the man who constantly degrades women, constantly humiliates partners, and constantly behaves as if masculinity is a battlefield, is actually covering something he's afraid to face. Maybe he likes what he likes. Maybe he discovered something in jail that awakened him. Maybe Chrisine wasn't crazy at all. Maybe she was the only one telling the truth. And maybe Blueface has spent years projecting anger, violence, and disrespect toward women because deep down, he never actually wanted them in the first place. Now the world is left piecing together a story he refuses to explain. And while nobody cares what orientation he identifies with, they do care about the hypocrisy, the manipulation, and the unnecessary chaos he creates while trying to hide his own truth. Because at some point, the lies hurt more people than the truth ever could. But now it's time to hear from you. Do you think the rumors about Blueface experimenting with men in jail are true? Or is this all a misunderstanding fueled by his past behavior? Do you believe Chrisine knew more than she ever told the public? And what do you think his recent comments reveal about who he really is? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you were drawn into this story. And don't forget to subscribe for more dramatic deep dives just like this one.